In the US, stock exchanges closed near fresh record highs, posting their strongest first quarter performance since 2019. Now, the Dow Jones was up 0.12% and it reached 39,000 points, while the Nasdaq ended at 16,379. Only this quarter, the S&P 500 added 10.2%. That's its best results since 2019, when it rallied more than 13%. The Dow Jones advanced 5.6% for the strongest first quarter performance since 2021, when it jumped 7.4%, while the Nasdaq ended this quarter with a 9.1% gain. Driving the gains this quarter and also this month has been Nvidia, last year's market leader due to the artificial intelligence craze. Its stock soared 82.5% for the quarter and 14.2% in March alone. Let's bring in Nadia El-Bilassi. She is a market analyst at Equity Group, and she joins us now live from Dubai. Thank you for joining us this morning. So what is driving this stock market rally in the US?
There's a lot of things, but it first started out with the earnings season, which was very robust. Companies told us that they were doing so well, and it drove the stock market higher. Also, the anticipation of Fed rate cut. We're heading now into a transitionary time between higher interest rates for longer and the anticipation of rate cuts to come starting June or July. I mean, before that, it was anticipated that we're going to start in March. So markets priced that in, they were boosted, and that's why we saw record highs.
What do you predict for the next few months? Will stocks go higher and higher? Because a lot of analysts have actually told us these days that what normally happens in the US, at least in the lead up to elections, is the stocks continue doing what they are doing. Does it mean the rally will last?
I mean, of course, there's questions now if a correction is or a pullback is bound to happen. That's always going to be a possible scenario. But there's still also reasons for why the stock market's still going higher. Also, good economic indicators from the US. So till we see that growth is really slowing down and that companies are doing a little bit worse, then yes, we can expect that.
Right, we are seeing what's happening in the chip sector, particularly Nvidia, incredible gains, 82.5% in only 3 months, 14% this month alone. Is this only Nvidia? Do you think there will be a rally and a strong momentum also for other chips in other countries? And if yes, where?
Yes, definitely. Already with the AI saga, we already saw that other AI chip manufacturing companies as well are doing well. So it's not just Nvidia; it's also anyone in that sector that's doing relatively well in that case. So I think the strong performance of the AI is bound to continue in 2024, and even till the next trend or the next big thing comes up, because this is the future. So I think all companies related to AI are bound to see several good indications.
Right. In the US indices especially, do you think there's a potential for course correction at some point? If we look at the valuations and the price earnings ratios, are these too stretched? And if yes, what do you think will happen in that case?
I think a 5 to 10% correction is due. However, because of the supporting factors of the AI hype, the rate cuts, the good economic indicators, it's all pushing stocks to go higher. Also, as investors are more risky now, they have a risk appetite with the cryptocurrencies, they're going also higher. There's a cyclical rotation of things. So yes, I think we could see a correction. It's definitely a possible scenario here.
Is there any analyst that's worried right now about a potential bubble formation when it comes to the chip sector, but most importantly, the tech sectors there in the US, do you think?
I think a lot of analysts do believe that we might be in a bubble, and that's because stocks are hitting record highs and there were no signs of any pullback so far. So this happened before, also in the 2008 recession as well. Before that, there was record highs. So that's why it makes investors a little bit concerned about when is the bubble going to burst. But so far, just as I mentioned, that there's many supporting factors that could create why this momentum is very sustainable. But it also reflects a great earnings growth for companies. So maybe when we start to see a mild pullback to all these companies, then we could talk about the bubble bursting.
Nadia Ebilassi, very good analysis. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you very much.
And now let's take a quick look at some of the top stories from around the world. The U.S. government has provided the state of Maryland $60 million in emergency funding after the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. On Tuesday, a 300-meter-long cargo ship crashed into the bridge, bringing down the whole structure and killing at least 6 workers who had been on it at the time. Insurance giant Lloyd's of London said the incident had the potential to produce the largest marine insurance claim in history. South Korea's factory production has risen at its fastest pace in 6 months, while output of semiconductors jumped the most in 14 years. The industrial production index rose 3.1% following a fall of 1.5% in the previous month. Rising production gives the Bank of Korea more power to hold its tight policy to continue the fight against inflation. Vietnam's economy has expanded 5.66% in the first quarter, beating expectations. That says exports continued to surge in the first 3 months of the year, despite higher shipping costs due to turmoil in the Red Sea. The Southeast Asian nation, a regional manufacturing hub and key exporter of smartphones, has set a GDP target of 6.5% this year. And Lufthansa has reached a pay deal with representatives for thousands of ground staff following weeks of strikes that caused widespread flight cancellations. The German airline says the average pay increase would be about 12.5%, and staff will also get a bonus of around $3,300. Strikes have cost Lufthansa around $270 million since the start of the year.